Hey, what's up, everybody? So, today I wanted to make this video about shit I wish I knew in my fucking 20s. Like, I think I'm gonna call this 10 things. I have a few things written down here, but just 10 things that I wish I would have knew about life, I would have known about business, and just things that would have been helpful for me along my entrepreneurship journey as I was in my 20s. So, right now I'm 32, turned 33 in a few weeks here. And so, these are some of the things I wish somebody would have told me. I wish I would have found or learned a little bit sooner and would have made my journey up to this point a little bit easier. So, let's see. The first one is that, you know, in truth, you are responsible for where you are right now and what you're doing with your life. Nobody else put you where you are. No one else is responsible for getting you to where you are today. It is you are where you are based on choices that you've made. And I really didn't realize this until I actually was about to quit my full-time job. And for the longest, I have been following the path laid out for me. I went to school, got good grades, got scholarships, went to go work at great companies. But, I actually had the decision or made the decision at 18 that I was going to be an entrepreneur and that by 35 I was going to be a millionaire. Well, along that way, I didn't really have a plan to get there, but I just kind of figured I would figure it out along the way. And, if someone would have told me to say, hey, JP, at the end of the day, you have to make decisions that are best for you, I definitely would have made some different choices. Now, I'm not going to go back and change anything because I wouldn't be at this point and I wouldn't have learned it if I didn't go through that journey. But, swipe that out the way. At times, I was waiting to make decisions, or I was waiting to be given permission or told, hey, this is the way you need to go. When in actuality, I already knew the right direction to go in and I knew what I wanted to do. And if I would have really just did it and took control and made that jump, I would have reached my goals a lot sooner and, I would be in a different place in my life. But, a lot of times we like to make excuses or people make excuses about, oh, I can't get ahead because of X, Y, Z. People are in my way, all the haters, people aren't giving me opportunities. That's not it at all. You are where you are because you make the choice. If you want to change your situation, just make the decision. All you have to do is make a plan and get to where you want to be, but you have to realize that it's your choice and nobody else's. And this is really big in kind of like religion, whereas people who are really religious, they're all waiting for the afterlife and what comes next as opposed to doing what's now. And if you look at a lot of poor countries, you'll see that they are very religious, and that's kind of led them to not really worry about the present because their riches or their jewels or their everlasting life will be in heaven or in the afterlife. So here they're just trying to make it through, and they're not living today like it's their last day. They're waiting till they get to live their life some other time. So you don't really want to do that. You want to make sure that you're living your life today and making decisions today that are going to be in your best interest in doing what it is that you want to do, as opposed to letting other people control what it is that you do in your life. So the second thing is that I wish I would have known that businesses have to solve a problem, and it's way more important than just having an idea. So I did a post about this week, and I was talking about how a lot of people just have ideas. There are people, I want to start a business and give other people my ideas. My ideas are the best. I think my ideas could make millions. And while it's true, your ideas could make millions, but what people don't realize is not just the idea that matters, it's the problem that you're solving. And once you go find a legit problem, something that someone needs solved, you're going to have an idea because the solution to that problem is your idea. So when I first quit my job, I was working with agile consultants and trainers, and I had some idea of the problem I wanted to solve, but I didn't know a whole lot. So I had to go talk to multiple coaches and trainers in this field to really learn what their problems were. And so I asked them, hey, what is your problem? And can I help you fix it? Even for free, because I just wanted to learn what the problem was. And so by doing that, I learned what the problem was, and I learned exactly what I needed to solve. So then at that point, having an idea was easy because I just needed to go fix their problem. And it was my idea because I created the original process to go from, oh, you have a problem to a solution. and I didn't even necessarily have an idea, quote unquote, to launch with. So it's really about developing, the solution to the problem, which would then get you to that idea. So to start a business, you don't really need to have an idea. You need to solve a problem. And unfortunately, in school and in our society, they don't really teach us that. They more so teach us that, hey, you need to be the next Zuckerberg. You need to have the next big idea to be the next internet millionaire, online superstar. When in actuality, they actually were solving a problem. If you look at Facebook, Google, Amazon, they're all actually solving a problem. They're not just, companies with great brands. Amazon is the best shipping. They have the lowest product prices. Google has services like Gmail, made it a lot easier to communicate. Google just search. It made the internet way easier to search. What happened to all the other search engines? I don't know. It's just Google now. And Facebook, people didn't have a way to connect and stay connected throughout their lives, and Facebook provided a solution to that. So that's why those companies are doing more, because they solved the problem as opposed to just focusing on, a great idea. All right. So third, you don't have to go to school or get an MBA to start a business or to go in business. And this was huge for me, because probably all the way up until I was, leaving my 20s, I thought this was, you had to have it. So, no, I had planned at 18 that, hey, I'm going to be a business owner, a millionaire by 35, and I got to get my MBA. I figured I was going to go to University of Michigan and get my MBA and be on my way. And along my journey, I discovered that, I was learning a lot more from working in businesses and doing entrepreneurship on the side than I would probably ever learn in business. And I was actually in grad school getting an engineering degree, and I was helping other people, other of my friends who were in MBA programs, and I'm like, okay, what is it about the MBA program that's so special if they're asking me to help them with their homework? And I've had a couple of my good friends go to Harvard, and we would be in study groups, and I would say I'm just as smart or even smarter than them. So I really was able to figure out that, hey, it wasn't really this degree thing. So what is it that we've been programmed with, that we have to go to school? And I think it's just society has kind of said, or it's not just society. We've been optimized as millennials, particularly to be efficient, and we've been groomed to be working machines. We've been groomed to go to college, get these degrees, and then go to other companies and make them great, as opposed to, hey, maybe you could be great, on your own right now with a different set of skills that don't involve you having to go work for somebody else and give up your capital and your human labor to give them, above profits and above returns. So, college is a great place to go if you don't know what you want to do. So at 18, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but didn't quite know where. So I went to a school that actually gave me an opportunity to work while I was going to school. So half the year I was working and half the year I was going to school, because at the time I knew I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. But I knew that if I was to go through different jobs, I would get the experience, and I would actually get to see what reality is versus, textbooks and theory. And I would learn what I liked, and more importantly, learn what I didn't like, so that in the future, when I was ready to make my leap, that I would be, more prepared. So you don't need an MBA. You don't need to go to college. If you don't know what you want to do, college is not a bad place to go find it out. But in actuality, you don't need an MBA, or you don't need a degree to start in business. So the next one, number 4, will be to go all out in business. And one of the things that that was going on with me and my company when I was in my 20s is I had a startup. I still do with some of my buddies that we started back in after college, and we made some money. We raised $250,000 in seed funding, and we had some success, but we were doing all this work on nights and weekends. So if you think about it, the fact that the team of 4 or 5 people was able to go out and raise money and get this capital and have success, go do trainings, network, meet with a lot of people, talk to NFL teams, college teams on our apps. We had success. but we're all doing it part-time. All of us still had a full-time job. And some of us were demanding. Some of us were working at companies that, demanded more of us than others. And so, no, we were kind of straddling that line, 1 foot in, 1 foot out of entrepreneurship. And, what I've learned since I've quit my job in my 30s and doing entrepreneurship full time is that it's really hard, if not damn near impossible, to do something part time because you really have to be all in, and your focus has to be on the main thing, and you have to keep the main thing. And so, just imagine, even when you don't have a side hustle and you're just going to work every day, it gets monotonous, and a lot of times, most people don't want to be there. Most employees aren't engaged in their work, and they're just there, just collecting a paycheck, counting down the hours, waiting till it's time to go home. And just imagine if you have to spend most of your day doing work for somebody else and then trying to switch that and doing your own. And I teach my clients to do that initially because you have to still pay the bills, but eventually, if you want to really have success and you really want to make this thing happen, this entrepreneurship thing, you have to quit, and you're going to have to give it your all. And we basically, I don't want to say burned through $250,000, but looking back on it, if we would have had more time, we could have been more productive with that money, and we would have been able to use that money more effectively. But our time was split. Everybody's time was split. We had families, we have kids. Those things are just part of life. So you kind of have to make a decision whether you're going to be all in and all out, and what are going to be the choices, and what are going to be the sacrifices you're going to have to make to make those things a reality, or make your entrepreneurship a reality. And so the next one, number 5, you don't need more time. You don't need more time. So this is something I always thought was a benefit. It was, all right, I have a decision in front of me. I'm going to take another week, 2 weeks, a month to think about it, to mull it over, and to make sure this is the right decision for me, or whatever the situation is for the business. And since I've left full time and in my 30s, I've learned that is actually not great advice at all. And the reason being is that when you wait to make decisions and you need to think about things, where there are going to be people who are taking action today, and they're going to get feedback and results from those actions, and they're going to know more information than you, while you're still sitting on the sidelines trying to wait around to think, oh, should I make this decision? Or, oh, I need to wait until I'm ready. And the truth is, we're probably never ready to do a lot of things. And the more time that you wait and the more time that you think about it, the less likely you are, to do it and to take action. And I was actually on a strategy session with a potential client, and got through the whole strategy session, and this individual said it was perfect for him. It was everything that he needed. It was the exact plan that he wanted to follow, but he just wasn't ready to commit. Now, on the one hand, yes, he's very honest, and he knew that he wasn't going to be able to put his time and attention towards that. But on the other hand, he said in 6 months, he was going to be able and be ready. So when I asked him, what's really going to change in the 6 months from what you have now till the future, there wasn't really anything that was going to change. He just wanted the option to mull it over, to sit down and to think about it for the next, 2, 3, 4 months, which in actuality is going to cost him money if he does decide to circle back around, because the price is going to be changed, and he's going to have to pay more for a decision he could have made sooner that he was going to make anyway, and now he's going to have to pay more. And that's how life kind of works. The longer you put things off, the more it's going to cost you to make that decision. So say you haven't been working out, and say, oh, you've gained a lot of weight, and you say, I'm going to work out this month. Well, if you continue that lifestyle for the next couple of months and you don't work out, well, you're going to be in worse shape than you were if you would have started those 2 months back and started to get your health in order. So learn to make decisions quickly. You got to take massive imperfect action. Your where a lot of times we're just scared to make mistakes, and I don't look at anything as a mistake. It's all about learning and about feedback. So anytime we make a decision, there's going to be some information that comes back to us based on that decision. There's going to be some feedback that's going to resonate based on what we're doing, and you just take that feedback and you feed it back in, to the other end of your system, and then you do it all again. So make choices quickly. Don't wait, and don't wait for someone to give you permission. And if you don't think that you're ready, figure out what it is that's holding you back so you can get to that point of being ready to commit. All right. Oh, this is a big one. So not everybody is trying to improve, and some people just don't want to rock the boat. And I learned this at my last full-time job, where I had just left consulting. I was working for Deloitte Consulting, so one of the big four consulting firms, and there it was a lot different from going from there to a nonprofit where the incentives are a little bit different. So in consulting, it was all about pushing forward, learning what you can, and giving you pretty much a lot of time, 50, 60, 70 hours a week towards the client work plus developing the firm. So on the one hand, that's a lot of work, but on the other hand, you're doing a lot of learning. You're learning hard work, and you're learning how to solve actual problems that your clients and your customers have. And one thing they do have in consulting is it's called up and out. So if you're not familiar with like law firms or consulting firms like that, there's only so many spots at the top. And this is one of the things that millennials are struggling with, is that you get to a consulting firm or you get to a big company and you realize that what, there's only so many people that can be CEO, only so many VP slots, and everybody's working hard, everybody's trying to get there, but at the end of the day, not everybody can get there. So when I went to a nonprofit, kind of flipped. A lot of people were kind of just there to collect a check, and they had maybe came from a consulting firm or came from industry, and they really just wanted to do a decent job and collect a check and go home. And for me, I wasn't, and I'm still not. I don't think I've ever been that type of person. So I would get into conflicts with people who were managers, not my direct manager, but people who were on his level, about the work that they were doing. And, I was feeding them ideas. I was literally doing their work for them. And it just seemed like they didn't want to move forward or push the envelope. And the truth is that they didn't. And, I had to realize that, that environment was a lot different than my previous environments. And that for me to be successful, that this was probably not going to be the place where I was going to make my living, and don't think I could survive in an atmosphere like that where people weren't being pushed, and that it was okay just to be okay. All right, let's see what else we got here. Okay, iPad. All right. So not everyone is trying to improve, and some people just don't want to rock the boat. So things are just okay, and I can go home, I can come to work and get paid. I don't need much else. That's all that matters, which I understand that, particularly if if you do have different responsibilities at home, if you got kids, family, you may have sick parents, you may have a lot of other things going on, and it's really difficult to give your all to everything. So it makes sense. But if you're a person like me, or you're an entrepreneur, that you always have to be improving. You always have to be looking for ways to get better, because that's just a natural law. It's evolution, and those that don't get better, those that don't improve, quote unquote, get left behind, and those that do improve, seek or get the gains and get the returns on their work and their effort. All right. Number 7. Judging people and how they choose to live their lives. So I'm gonna be honest here. I used to be super judgy, guys. I wouldn't tell people. Okay, I would tell some things about people about themselves, but for me, it was more of a mental judgment and just kind of writing people off, after a conversation or so, and kind of excluding them, and maybe not even being, quite friendly for them. So One thing I learned, and this had to be within the past couple, within the past couple of years, was that, you know, whenever I was judging someone or saying anything about how someone acts, dressed, or whatever, it was really a reflection on me and, how I felt about myself. So if I saw something, an activity that someone was doing and I didn't like it, I would say something about it. But in reality, would have been more beneficial is to reflect and say, okay, JP, what is it about this that has you acting like this, and why is this bothering you so much? It's not your life; it's their life. They get to choose what they want to do with it. Why does this bother you so much? And a lot of times, just based on how we were raised, the things we were taught, and thinking that I know all the answers and whatever they're doing is wrong. That leads us to judging people and starting to say that, oh, what you're doing is right, what you're doing is wrong. You're good, you're bad. And that comes from being kids. And we were raised, be a good girl, be a good guy, be a good boy. Good boys do this, good girls do that. So we've been programmed that, hey, here's what being a good person looks like. Here are the actions good people take. When in actuality, there's always a situation where you look at something and say, oh, I disapprove, where, that may be beneficial. So I'm going to think of an example of a saying people say, or something I used to say. So I used to tell people, and I remember talking to my sister about this. I used to tell her, you want to work smarter, not harder. And, looks like we're going to run out the battery. So let me charge this and I'll be back. All right, we got some battery now. So I was talking about the phrase I used to say a lot, which was work smarter, not harder. And, in theory, that sounds about right. Machines technically work smarter. They do more with less time, with less materials. But, honestly, you got to do both. You have to work smart and you have to work hard, because, the way to succeed is to do everything better than everybody and to do it for a longer amount of time. And so, it's things like that we tend to want to judge people on, because we don't think they're doing what we've been taught that we're supposed to do at that point. And in actuality is no one quite knows the right answers. And if there are two sides to an equation, which there always are, the answer is likely somewhere in the middle. It's not going to be on either of the extremes. It's typically going to be somewhere in the middle. And the person or people who can point out the truth when everybody else is looking at the wrong answer, those are the people who are successful. And that kind of just goes into number 8, is that, there's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. Life just is. And, we're all trying to do our best. So, good and bad are things that people, and that we tend to label, everything. Like I said, you want to be a good boy, you want to be a good girl. And, those things, are based on, where you grew up, the religion that you were taught, or even if you were taught religion at all, it has to do with your environment, the countries you grew up in, the cities, the towns, the neighborhoods, the streets, the schools that you went to, the people that raised you, the people in your environment. All of those things are put together to make us who we are. So, it's really impossible to say that someone raised in China during, Mao, the 1960s and 1940s is better, worse than someone, raised today. Because, we're taking our experience into account and saying this is what's best. It's better to have all this technology. It's better to have, access to everyone at the drop of a dime. And, in some sense that there are benefits to that. There are benefits to having all this technology. But there are others, once again, there's another side to the coin of technology, which is, we're all connected, but now, people are on these platforms, and people are addicted to these platforms. They're addicted to the dopamine. They're going back to social media every 5 minutes. Oh, did I get a like? Oh, did I get more views? So there are two sides to everything now. So is social media bad? Is all this connectivity bad? No, not necessarily. Is it good? No, not necessarily either. The answer, once again, is somewhere in the middle, and you have to take that balanced approach to everything because there's always going to be extremes. If you look at murder, so for the most part, murder is considered bad. You shouldn't kill people. Well, there are situations where murder might be okay, like in war. So if you're in a war, if you're not killing people, well, you're gonna lose the war. So we tend to put our lens and our perspective, and we only see what's kind of in front of us, and we don't see the different situations that can manifest from this one situation. And when you're not exposed to different environments, when you're not exposed to people and ideas, we develop this limited frame, and it causes us to put things in these baskets of left, right, or good and bad, things that we should be doing and shouldn't be doing. When in all honesty, the truth is we should be always somewhere in the middle and taking an objective opinion of everything. And honestly, the best thing to do is to just not take an opinion at all. Be in the middle and be willing to hear arguments from either side. And when you do that, you don't close yourself off. So when you start taking opinions that one thing is bad or one thing is good, you close yourself off from all the other opportunities. And it's particularly in business, that's where the real money is going to be made. It's for the opportunities that people don't see because they're so jaded by their opinions and what they think is bad and good that they don't see the options as viable. So that was number 8. Fear and lack drives most of human motivation. And Lord, I see this all the time, particularly on social media. So for most of human history, and it's no surprise that we're like this today, we lived in a state of constant fear of what is that in the bush over there rumbling? What is that over there that looks like it could possibly come kill me? I need to protect myself. I need to protect my offspring if you want to survive. So having a lack mindset and a fear mindset really helped us survive as a species because you really didn't want to be that tiger or that lion's dinner. You wanted to make sure that everything were safe. So in that instance, it was advantageous to be scared of everything because if that thing in the bush isn't a lion, well, no harm, no foul, because, I thought it was a lion, it wasn't, and I'm still alive. But if that thing was a lion and I didn't pay attention to it, well, I'm dead, and that animal, whatever it is that's after me and is trying to kill me, is going to get me because I didn't think it was a threat. Now, flip that to today where, we don't have those same predators after us in the wild. We are the dominant species on Earth, so we don't have that fear that that thing in the bush is going to get us. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that we've gotten rid of that fear, even though it doesn't really apply. So still today, when people see snakes, when they see spiders, even when you see that thing in the bush, you still jump. You still get scared, like, oh, what is that thing over there? And it's because that's how, millions, I forget how long exactly humans have been along. I think it's something like, if we put like 20, 80-year-olds, that's kind of, I don't know what it is exactly, but for as long as we've, been around, for the most part, it's been based on fear. So, and today, if you're scared that, hey, if I do something, it's not going to work out, or hey, I can't make this risk because I'm not going to have money, or if you're getting into arguments over resources, which is a lot of what humans do today, wars and fights is usually because there's a lack of resources and people are fighting over them because they believe that if they don't get this resource, they won't survive. And the truth is that it really comes from that lack mindset that really holds us back, thinking that there's not enough for everybody. Not everybody can do what JP or whoever else is doing. That lack mindset really sets us back, and it really holds us back from even trying anything that would maybe even be special and really be what's great for us, because we're so worried about what other people are going to think, I'm going to have to give up all these other things that I think are great for what I say I really want. And, it turns out that lack mindset is just, it really hurts us, particularly as millennials, when we see that, there aren't enough slots for everybody. I can't get what I want because, somebody else is going to get that spot. We think it's a zero-sum game, and in reality, it's not. In reality, if you switch to the abundance mindset, you then start to believe that, I can get anything that I want if I put in the hard work, which is true. Because guess what? If everybody else is running around with a lack mindset and you switch to the abundance mindset, you're not thinking about what you don't have. You're not thinking that, oh, I didn't get a new car, or, oh, I'm not buying a new house, because, you know that if you wanted those things, you could go out there and get them, and that you will go out there and get them with hard work and your determination and your mindset. So I learned to flip to the abundance mindset and stop really thinking about the things I didn't have and really focus on the things that I wanted to get in the future. And let's see, we got one more. So the last thing I wish I would have realized in my 20s is that, I've always been rich. Now, when I say rich, I'm not talking monetarily. I'm talking about with my mind, with my body, with my friends, with my family, and with my environment. And I was really thinking about this last year when I was really trying to determine what are going to be my goals as an entrepreneur as I quit my job, and what is going to be the thing that drives me. What is it that I want? So, went through the typical goals. Oh, I want to make X number of millions of dollars. I want to have this type of car or this kind of house. And, I was looking at those things and was thinking about it. It was like, other than, having enough money to be comfortable, I don't really care about a car. Right now I ride all Ubers. I don't even own a car. So I didn't care about a car, the house. I mean, my apartment now is fine. I wish I maybe had a little bit more space, but with more space, once again, there's two sides. Comes more space to clean, more space to worry about, then you got to fill it up. So, when I really thought about it, I came to realize that, I live in Florida. I love the sun. I have a great wife. I get to play basketball once, twice a week. And I get to work, on exactly what I want to work on. I get to do exactly what I want to do. I talk to the people I want to talk to, and anyone I don't, I exclude them from my life. So, because I really thought about it and said, you know what, JP, you actually are really rich right now. Because how many people work their whole lives to get things that they say they want? And, you work 30 years for a corporation and you say, oh, I want to have this great retirement. And then they get to retirement and, you're either too sick to enjoy it, or you get to retirement and it's not, you're like, what did I wait for? Like, this is it. I spent 30 years with this company and what I got was a watch. And so now, now that I'm 60, 70, trying to do all the things I wanted to do, I can't because, I didn't plan for those, or I may be sick, or I just physically can't do it. So, I realized that I was really rich right now with my people, with my surroundings, and just the things that I like to do with my life. And it's what I want to do. I still play with Legos. I bought some of those just to bring back the things that I really enjoyed as a child, and the things that really made me happy, regardless of money, status, cars, clothes, any of that. And really realize that, all I really needed to be rich was to, doing something that I love to do, to be able to do it with passion, and to have the things that made me happy as a child and things that make me happy, today. So that was one of the, perhaps when I moved to Florida, that was the biggest revelation. And I think it was because I escaped the winters too. So when there's no snow, it's a lot easier to be happy. But I also realized that, I have opportunities that I created, and that, I create the richest of my life. I create my value. I create my wealth. And that if I put that out there, it's going to return to me, tenfold. So wanted to share those 10 things I wish I would have known in my 20s with you. If you're checking out this video for the first time, I make videos like this, once a week. I also do live chats as well. So if you like this video, let me know about it below in the comments, and let me know what are some of the things that you wish you would have learned earlier in your life. Even if you're 20s, what are some things you would have wished before your 20s? And if you're older than 20, let me know what are some of the things that you wished you would have learned maybe in your 30s or 40s as well. So if you have any questions, let me know, guys. Other than that, thanks for watching and take care.